coach, this is gonna be for you. If you're not, you can go ahead and click off now. Today we're gonna go over the assessment protocol and the process that I used with a young up-and-coming boxer, 7-0, very talented, but there's some issues that we saw. The reason why we wanna do an assessment is because when you look at the focus points, we wanna develop an understanding of their overall ability from a performance standpoint, not just their skill set, not just their technical efficiency, obviously, but we also wanna look at their physicality, how they're moving in space, their joint prerequisites, things that are going to allow us to program accordingly. The other thing is, like we talked about, is relay over the information, right? That's gonna give yourself the information and the information to the athlete and to the skills coaches that will enhance their ability to actually coach them, and it allows the athlete to understand their body a little bit better. You also wanna structure a plan of action to improve the performance. So our plan of action is going to be based upon those joint prerequisites or the movement capabilities that they already have. And then when we want to enhance those capabilities, we need to properly put together a plan or a structured periodization program that is going to get them into better performance. So then you're gonna set a clear and concise parameter base to help progress. It allows us to give us the proper exercise selection, volume, right? Modalities of training and overall methods that are going to, again, enhance performance overall. We want to create a baseline of numbers, right? A baseline of understanding so that we can always look back at the numbers and say we progressed, right? Numbers never lie, and it allows us as coaches, as physical prep coaches, to relay over that information to the skills coach and to the athlete to showcase how they progressed overall. It also depends upon how they're feeling, how they're performing inside the ring, but also those numbers give you a clear understanding. It gives you data that you can utilize to showcase what you're doing has some validity. So the steps. As you can see there in the video, we were doing postural analysis. We were going over certain details. We were going over movements and muscles that are firing effectively and what are not. I want you to lift the knee off the ground. Hold that position, okay? Lift it up and hold. Yep, right there, good. Put that glute on. All right, now I want you to try to keep me from pushing your knee to the ground. 2, 1, hold. Good, that wasn't bad. Did you feel it in your back at all? Yeah. You did, right? So he compensated through the back to keep his hip in extension. The reason why is because, again, he lacks the range of motion and hip extension. So then instead of going to glute, he puts it into his back. So what we gotta do is open up the anterior chain, try to free up some tight tissue, improve on full extension, and that will allow you to actually use the hamstring and the glute to maintain your hip extension. The other thing that you want to look at is a psychological evaluation, and that just comes from asking questions. You can also use a Braverman's test, which is a 60-question questionnaire, and it allows us to understand the personality that our athletes have based on neurotransmitter dominance. You also can use a big 5-factor analysis. Now I have all of these programs and the step-by-step process inside my mentorship program. If you're not signed up already, make sure you do so. Link is down below. Now, the next one that we're gonna look at is step 2, is a physical evaluation. We're gonna take a postural analysis. So we're gonna take a picture of their body standing front ways, right? Forward and back, and then sideways too as well, so that we can look at the body as a whole as they're standing still. You're also gonna do a movement screen. So that could be anything from an FNMS, any type of movement screen. I actually put together certain movements that are conducive to the sport, and I do have that in the mentorship, but basically what we wanna see is rotational abilities. We wanna see the ability to squat, to hinge, to lunge appropriately without compensation, right? Also pressing overhead, so on and so forth. So making sure that you're using some sort of movement screen. You can use a functional range conditioning protocol to evaluate and assess movement capabilities, and also, like I said, joint prerequisites. Pull the elbow to the knee, and then you're gonna step. So we're working rotation and we're working gait. So now what we're doing is we're integrating the foundational patterns into the actual assessment process. What I'm trying to look at right now is his ability to stabilize on one side and rotate on the up leg. So you have a closed chain and open chain type of movement. Again, we're working through locomotion. We're also seeing how well he can rotate and maintain stability. Step number 3 is gonna be a physiological evaluation. So now we're gonna get deeper into the science, where we're looking at VO2 max, we're looking at at lactic threshold. We're also going to understand the rate limiting factors of their energy systems, because that's going to help us streamline the actually conditioning that we're going to be utilizing for the athlete so that we can get them better in a limited amount of time. So essentially we're trying to close the gaps of the weak points. We're trying to strengthen up the weak links in the chain. And step number 4 is obviously going to be a performance test. I like to work with power testing. Now that you could use a jump mat, or you can just do something very basic where if you don't have a jump mat, if you don't have a vert max, put tape on the fingers, have them jump up, have them put the tape on the wall as high as they can. Again, you can do this in a staggered position. You can do this bilateral, you can do this unilateral, whatever you want to do to give you a baseline understanding of their power through the lower body. You want to do this for height and for distance. Another thing is you want to see how strong they are. So you can use 1 rep max calculators. They don't have to go to a true 1 rep max. You can get them doing a 3 rep max, and then you evaluate that accordingly and calculate it to the projected 1 rep max. Another thing you could do, if you have the ability to do so, is do a mid-thigh pull and isometric contraction. If you have force plates, most coaches don't have access to that. You can use a crane scale. You would just jimmy rig it up to where you would see how much force they're actually producing into a given movement, whether it be a mid-thigh pull, a Zercher squat, whatever. And you can use pretty much any compound lift to showcase that 1 rep max. So you're just trying to find newtons of force in particular ranges and planes of motion for their strength levels for the sport. Another thing is you want to look at is a dynamic strength index or a reactive strength index. Is basically going to show us, are they stronger than they are fast, or are they faster than they are strong? And that's going to help you dictate the actual methods that you're going to put more focus on throughout your time of the training camp and throughout the years. All right, so there it is. Very basic step-by-step process. Obviously, I'm skipping over the nuanced details. If you want to find out more about that, you can go ahead and click the link down below for the mentorship. But primarily what we're doing is we need to develop an understanding of the athlete. We need to know, where their capabilities lie, and then how we're going to progress them with a structured program. All right, if you have any more questions, hit the comments down below. And again, make sure you stay tuned for the rest of the video. You could tell he's stronger here. There's a lot more muscle here too as well. So what I'm seeing also with that lateralization, with this one, it's pulled back. His shoulder's pulled back. So when he goes to try to get into that shoulder flexion, he doesn't have the range. Because this is pulled forward, it allows him to protract the arm more. When you protract the shoulder, it allows for you to turn over your punches. So he's able to turn his punches over more with this side, just based off of his ability to have shoulder flexion and have the scap rotate around. So if he's limited here, that means he's probably limited in his serratus, which is the puncher's muscle. So when he throws his punches, we need to get him more strength here so that this scap kind of rotates around the rib cage, like that one. I have Maximus Castro, 7-0, right? 7-0. 7-0. We ran him through a full movement assessment, and then I was utilizing some of those movement assessments and putting it into practice with some of the dynamic movements that you've seen there in the past. So what this was something that we do with young fighters that come in that want to learn and get better from a performance standpoint that can enhance their skills as they go further. And obviously I was talking to his physical preparation coach and his skills coach to enhance all things that are going to help him inside of the ring. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the comments down below, all that good stuff. I'll see you again next time. Peace.